I'm going to push this button. Official welcome from your coach Borino. Hi guys. Nice to have you on this broadcast, coming to you live every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time here in Real Estate Rockstars, or if you're watching on replay either here on Facebook or on your YouTube. Good to have you, especially you guys for the first time. I'm really excited that you're here. Nice to have you, Ms. Shante, as always. Happy Tuesday to you as well. Mr. Marino checking in, just had a closing and made sure I can watch. Fantastic. Congratulations on the closing, Marino. That's awesome. Very nice. Mr. Anthony checking in. Happy Tuesday to you as well, sir. Very, very happy you made it today on our live broadcast. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. For those of you guys watching it live, post comments right here next to the video. I'm going to check it periodically. We're going to chat. I'm going to answer as many as I possibly can. If you're watching it on replay, post it in the comments or post it on YouTube below the video. Like it if you like it, and I will address your question on our next live session every Tuesday here at Real Estate Rockstars. All right, and with that, my dear Rockstar Real Estate agents, let's get started. I'm going to push this magic button. Anyway, well, first of all, Jessica, are you with us? I wanted to show you this. This is one of our rock stars, Jessica Stone, who is one of my students, came to do boot camp with me about 6 months ago. And after that, took off like a rocket ship. I mean, she was no pushover before that. Jessica was doing well before that. But once she came on board, magic started to happen. And got a new house, got a new car, and not just any car. Look at that. Jessica Stone is a proud owner of a nice Porsche, and I'm sure she's going to post a lovely picture. Anyway, I wanted to show you this to inspire you, that even as a new agent, you may not have been in the business for very long, or even if you've been at it for 20 years, doesn't really matter. You can turn things around very quickly. That's the beautiful thing about this business. That's what I love about it so much, that there is no long, tedious, laborious ramp-up time. You can do it quickly. Is it hard? Yeah, shit, yeah. This is hard work. Real estate is a hard business. But if you're going to work hard, might as well get paid well and have a good lifestyle. Jessica, congratulations. You make me so proud, and I love working with you. I enjoy your passion and your enthusiasm, and congrats on the nice new house and the new car. Every single one of you guys, every single one. Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. You can have it. You can have it all. It's possible. It's going to take work, it's going to take discomfort, it's going to take blood, sweat, and tears, no question about it. But at the end, you can have it. It's up to you. All right? Wanted to share that. Congrats. Makes me always excited when I see stuff like that. Another rock star, Sharon Powell, called my first expire today. It wasn't a good time for her, and she wasn't interested in real estate, but I made the call. That's the hardest one. Sharon, making the first call is always the hardest, isn't it? For those of you guys, some of you are prospecting rock stars. Knocking on the first door, making the first phone call, reaching out for the first time, talking to the FSBO. First open house visitor, remember that? Man, I was so nervous. I was really scared. It's just part of this business, encountering strangers, especially when there's a lot at stake. And let's don't beat around the bush. There's $5, $8, $15, $20,000 on the line. That's a lot. So of course you're going to be nervous. Of course it's going to be uncomfortable. And of course it's not going to be perfect. Don't expect it to be. It doesn't need to be, number one, and it's going to get better. Think about it this way. A couple of years ago, I'm an avid skier. I love to ski. I started skiing since I was 3 years old. I was little tiny poopik, little tiny boy. And I was 3 years old. And my dad took us to this lovely resort, the whole family. And we're on the gondola coming up the mountain. Lovely day. One of those perfect days, blue sky, snow everywhere, people skiing, having a great time. And we're sitting on the gondola. I'm sitting right next to my dad. And I'm all proud, little guy. Of course, happy. Family skiing trip, exciting. And I'm thinking, this is going to be awesome. My dad's going to teach me valuable lessons about skiing and metaphors for life. So we get to the top. We get off the gondola, he helps me out, and my first skis, I'm puddling around. We come to the edge of the mountain, and here I'm waiting for the words of wisdom and demonstration, how to turn and how to stop. And my dad stands right behind me, and he just goes, off you go, and pushes me down the fucking mountain. So I'm clunking down, oh my God, oh. But when you're little, you're short, the center of gravity is so low, nothing can really happen to you. And I make it to the bottom of the mountain. It was a pretty steep mountain too. And there was my lesson. That was the whole lesson. Yes, he could have spent an hour or two explaining me the physics of skiing downhill, about gravity, about counterforce, g-forces, balance. He could explain how to slow down and speed up, how to gently turn to the right, how to sharply turn to the right, how to stop, all that. But at the end, I would have only learned going down that hill. So his lesson was brisk, immediate. I didn't have time to think, to figure things out, or be even afraid, and it was effective. And after that, I became an avid skier. It's the same thing in real estate, just like Sharon. Yes, you can watch my videos, and I love when you do, and I love when you come on board and buy my systems, and when you become my client, I love teaching you. But at the end, the only way you're going to get better, you're going to see success, just like Jessica and thousands of other of you guys, my students who make me proud, and I appreciate you, is by doing it, by being out there. And yes, you're going to bounce down at times, and yes, you're going to fall down at times, and yes, there's going to be snow everywhere. It's going to be unpleasant. But that's the only way. That's the only way. Being out there, doing it over and over and over. And you're going to get better, and then a little better. Then the next call will be better, the next will be better, the next will be better. And pretty soon you're going to feel like, what's the fucking big deal? I can totally do this. I can totally talk to people. I got this. It's going to take some progression, but what you're looking for is not perfection, but progress. So get on that mountain, scary or not, hit the slopes, go down. Yeah? So kudos to Sharon, keep going. That's the secret, don't get scared. And sometimes it may be unpleasant, sometimes people may be rude, and sometimes they are emotional, or sometimes you're going to call a whole bunch and nothing's going to happen. You knock on a whole bunch of doors, nothing's going to happen. Nobody's going to be home, and you just feel like you're spinning your wheels and nothing is happening. Stay with it. Because it's so easy, you know, the drunken monkey, the monkey brain, will talk you out of it saying, there's got to be a better way, easier way, safer way, more pleasant way, more effective way. No. Being out there, talking to high probability leads is the fastest, easiest, most efficient way for you to turn a potential lead into a client and a listing. You just have to stay with it, especially on the days that it sucks. Cool? All right, my real estate amigos. Are you enjoying it? Hey, Mr. Kenneth, good to have you. Gerard, my good man, are you still selling real estate yourself? No, Jerry, I do not. There came a point in my career where I had to decide, either do a good job as a real estate agent, grow my team, or become a good coach. You can't do both really well. It's just from practical standpoint and time standpoint, one of the parts of the business would suffer. And I decided that working with you guys is the most exciting, most fulfilling, I'm most passionate about to helping you. So I'm a full-time coach now. All right, so welcome. Mr. Anthony Glass has some questions. We're going to answer those. Tom is with us. Nice to have you. Tanya joined us. Excellent. Good to have you. Mr. Brian English, always good to have you on the broadcast and coaching. Absolutely fantastic. All right, good to have you guys. Okay, one more thing I wanted to show you. Check this one out. This was a question from Jonathan. What's a good income goal for first-year agents? And I really wanted to chat about that for two reasons. Number one, this is a perfect time right now, next 2-3 days, to get your bearings so that you see what happened in 2016 and you gain control over 2017. So here's what I would recommend. Spend maybe today, maybe tomorrow, here we are on Tuesday, so maybe Wednesday, no later than Thursday, because we're going in December. By then, you need to be done, and I'll show you and explain to you why in just a moment. But here's what I would do. Grab a piece of paper and write down 2016. What was your goal in terms of income and transactions? What did you set out to do? Now, this is not to beat you up. This is not to make you feel bad or feel guilty. But if you haven't reached your goal, we can fix it. So here's what you do. 2016, what did you accomplish? What was the goal? What was the reality? So let's say your goal was 200,000 and let's say you made 150,000. Write those down. How many transactions would have it taken to do 200,000? And what did you actually do? Transactions and listings. Please write these down. Or you can do it right now. Do it with me right now. So you have goals, money, listings, transactions. What was the reality? Okay? So do this. Just jot it down real quick. Do the best you can with what you have. If you don't know the exact numbers, don't overthink it. Don't let that fucking drunken monkey, little bastard, talk you out of it. No, we're going to do this later. You won't. I know you. I know myself. We're all the same. So do this, okay? So, next, write down what were the biggest obstacles? In other words, what separated you from the goal? What was the biggest obstacle? Write down 2 or 3 actionable things, practical things, specific things. Be specific. Write it down. What were 1, 2, or 3 things that you feel like are the main roadblocks that got in the way between what the goal was and what the reality was? Or, if you reach your goal, what do you think can be the biggest obstacle in 2017? Write those down. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 3, 4 bullet points at the most. Got it? Thumbs up? Okay. Now, what do you want to accomplish in 2017? Don't start with the money. Do not start with an income goal. That's why I wanted to show Jonathan's question is, so many of you do it backwards. I was guilty for many, many years, where I would come up with this abstract number, $250,000, let's just use that, and I would try to shoehorn my lifestyle into that. And if I didn't meet that goal, if I made less, I would have to squeeze my lifestyle, cut out things so that it fit the income. It's backwards. It's backwards. You've done the exercise. I'm going to coach you again. If you missed it, it's fine. We're going to teach you again in January. I'm going to roll it out again. But here's a short version. Pick things that you want in 2017 in terms of your lifestyle. How you want to live, the vacations, the homes, everything. Everything that matters to you. Then you're going to come up with a number that it's going to cost to accomplish that. Don't kid yourself. Money does buy happiness. Don't buy into this bullshit. Money cannot buy happiness. Bullshit. You've been told wrong. I'm speaking from experience. I was broke and now I'm wealthy. Wealthy is better. Wealthy means happy because wealth will give you opportunities. It will give you freedom to not only provide lifestyle for you, but for others. And not just for your friends and family, but you can be altruistic as much as you want. You can do that if you're broke. You cannot help anybody if you're broke, let alone help yourself. So don't buy into that bullshit. It is about the money. And money is good. Making money is good because if you're making a lot of money, you're helping a lot of people. You guys are rock stars. You're good agents. You're not greedy bastards going after commissions. So that means if you're helping a lot of people, you're doing well for the world. You're making this place a better place, and I applaud you for that. And if you get paid well for that, more power to you. Money is good. Make as much as you possibly can. And if I can help you in a way, that's my number one passion, is to help you. To have more Jessicas, to have more Keiths, to have more people who are crushing it like Jim Steele, and I could name names all day long. People who are shaping the lifestyle based on how they want it, based on the choice. And that freedom comes from money, but you have to make money first. So come up with a lifestyle, then figure out what is it going to take to get there. How many listings, how many appointments, how many leads. And then work it daily, work your ass daily. Can a new agent reach 150, 200,000? Of course, it's possible. It's going to be hard work. You're going to work your ass off, but you're going to work hard anyway. Might as well get paid. Make sense? So set a goal that works based on your lifestyle. All right, one more thing I wanted to show you, and this was kind of an entertaining. Valerie posted a comment. I was talking in a video about sending cards. Gail and I were chatting about... Gail is a great agent, by the way. We're going to do a rockstar interview with her shortly. We're going to record it. I think it's on the 9th or so. She uses send-out cards, and through the cards, she is creating a fantastic connection with her sphere of influence, with her leads, and generating business as a result. You will see what she sends, how it works, and the results she's getting. It's going to be a terrific rockstar interview. But anyway, Valerie's comment on that video. Valerie's an agent, and she says, I tried using note cards and thank you cards for months and found they do not work here in Alberta, Canada. The leads I followed up with did not respond in any way, either by email, phone, or letter. And I have never gotten any business from them. I have found that when I follow up with leads, they simply want something for nothing. For example, a seller lead, blah, blah, blah. She goes on. Now, I responded, what do you think is happening? What's the problem? Valerie responded, I think the problem is that most Canadians are just plain arrogant. I myself am not Canadian. And then she goes on. I apologize, Valerie. I'm not laughing at you. But to have a general assumption that most Canadians are arrogant is probably furthest from the truth you can possibly be. Now, back me up on this, you guys. I have found that Canadians, our friends up north, are the most polite, the nicest, friendliest, easygoing people you'll ever meet. That's from a guy who's from Europe. You know, that's from arrogance comes from. I can recognize arrogant. You guys are the nicest, friendliest people I ever know. So what is the real problem? Why is Valerie hitting that roadblock that no matter what she does, she can't get through to people? They're not responding to, or if they do respond, they're arrogant to her. They seem to be rude. You ever encounter that? Like you're trying in marketing, you're trying to do something, prospecting, marketing, advertising, whatever. And you're not getting the result, and you're blaming the system, and you're blaming this, and you're blaming that, and you think it's the people out there. Has that ever happened to you? You know what I'm talking about, right? So here is the real problem. Without me talking and working with Valerie, I'm just basing on assumptions. But doing this for 20 years, I've had enough experience with you, with thousands of you guys, that I can pretty much tell you what's going on. The real problem is not Canada. Canada is fine. Yes, there are some arrogant bastards there, but in general, Canadians are wonderful, lovely people, and many of them need and want a good professional agent. That's not the problem. The real problem is right up here. And you guys, my students, already know that. That you start in your head first. You start upstairs first. Because the first thing that will shape your experience is your focus, your expectations, and your beliefs, because they shape your emotions and your actions. Let me repeat that. This is really important. You need to evaluate. If you're not getting the results you want, if it's not working, start with that. Start with your head. Don't evaluate marketing first, because the experience of your marketing or the marketing you're setting up is filtered through your mind, through your focus, your expectations, and your beliefs, because those shape your emotions and your actions. So if it's not working, do you think Valerie expects people to be arrogant to her and many other agents? And agents who are failing or who are constantly getting rude people, unpleasant people, non-motivated sellers, where do you think it comes from? The market out there, do you still believe that? Probably not, right? The reality is it starts with your focus. What do you focus on? What do you feed energy to? What do you pay attention to? You're going to get more of that. That's how it's set up. I didn't make it that way. That's just the way it is. So it's your focus, number one. What do you believe about yourself, about wealth, about money, about real estate, about success? What beliefs do you carry around? Because beliefs are nothing but a programming for your subconscious mind that you repeat over and over. And number three, what do you expect? You see, when I started working, especially expireds, because I heard so many other agents, oh, expireds are pain in the ass, and they're rude, and they're hard to work with, and you can't consistently list expireds and all that. And because these were experienced agents, in my mind, these were authority, I bought into all that. And I had the same beliefs. And guess what? Many expireds were rude. Ha! Surprise. Many expireds were not motivated. Shocker. Until I finally kept hitting the wall, hitting the wall, hitting the wall. You know the end of the story. End up in the car homeless. So the first thing, and I did through Tony Robbins training, is I shifted my focus, my expectations, and beliefs. And surprise, everything started to change. Better people showed up, more motivated sellers, friendlier, nicer people. Ha! Go figure. So that's the real problem. That's number one. Once the focus, expectations, and beliefs are in place, the emotions will change. Once the emotions will change, the actions become easy. Because they're based on the right programming. I'm going to get business. I mean, look around. There will be over 5 million transactions closed this year. 5 million homes sold this year. That's 10 million commissions. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. There's a lot of business out there. So it's not about the business out there. It's not about the market. Bullshit. The market is right up here in Valerie and everybody else's head. So you fix that, everything else will start falling in place. Will it still require work? Of course. You still have to go out there and hustle and do your thing. Use the right marketing. Use the right approach. Use the right communication. Use the right scripts. Use the right follow-up. All that matters. But if your mind is in the wrong place, if your head is not in the right place in terms of your focus, your expectations, beliefs, and then emotions and actions, you're fucked. It's not going to work, at least not long term. You're going to push for a while using discipline. But here's the problem. Discipline will tax you and drain you so much that if that discipline is not backed up by the juice of inspiration, you're not going to get very far. And you tried. I know you have. Every one of you tried the discipline, the gung-ho. Ooh. But that's going to, after a while, you're just going to get burned out. And you go, fuck it, there's all there is. Okay? Focus, expectations, belief. Evaluate and shift. That's where it starts. Now, of course, if you just keep sending cards, don't expect people to line up at your front door of your office, knock on the door and say, oh, list my house, you send me the card. Cards, just like I was talking in the video, is just part of the pie. It's not the whole pie. Now Valerie says, well, I tried to call, I tried this and I tried that, and none of that worked. So then once the focus and expectations are in place, evaluate your approach. Record yourself. Do you sound confident? Do you sound like a high status agent? Are you using the right communication? Or do you come across as needy? Now here's the thing. If Valerie is, or anybody else for that matter, is getting a lot of people who are rude, do you think she may have some qualities that people reflect that? There's a mirror principle. The mirror principle in human interaction says people behave towards you to a great extent the way you'd expect them to. And very often they just reflect the qualities you have that you see in others. Okay. Thanks very much for those comments, Valerie. Hope this helped. I mean, I don't intend to beat up on you or make fun of you, but this is really what's going on. You clean this up, you watch. Magic can happen. If you don't change it, nothing's going to change. You're going to be stuck. And my prediction is people like that usually quit business fairly quickly. All right, amigos. Learning something? Is it good? Good. All right. Brian says, preach. Money provides and gives you more opportunities to help that poverty. It's about the money. Brian Casella, my man, thank you for that comment. I really appreciate it. And that's from a guy who is successful, but who's also out there hustling. I mean, Brian's one of the hardest working door knocking people in Southern California I know. And I know a lot of people. And I door knock City of Whittier many times over. So kudos to you, my man. That Lambo is coming, brother. All right. Giles says, yes. Hey, Giles, great to have you. We were just talking about it. You're going to be on our Rockstar interview. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I will pronounce your name right. Zintek, right? All right. Mr. Ken? Yes, you get what you ask for. Absolutely, yes. Awesome. Cool. Mindset, exactly. Angel says, love me some Canadians. Yeah, you guys are nice people. I don't know. Why would somebody believe otherwise? Totally. Groovy. God says, thank you for the inspiration. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. A little bit of information, a little bit of inspiration, some fun, humor, a little bit of song and dance. And we're going to have a good time. All right. Derek says, good to be here. Very nice to have you, Mr. Radford. Happy Tuesday from Sonda. Nice. Juan wanted to know, this is a great question. How many hours per day do you prospect back in the day? Fantastic question. When things finally turned around for me, and it took me 10 months to go from living in that old beat-up rusty Cadillac to having my own condo. I get a nice condo, there were tennis courts and pool. It was very comfortable. I mean, think about it, from car to my own condo. I bought that place. I got a Mercedes, a red Mercedes with open roof. It was so awesome. And I took my first wife, we went to Italy, to Venice for 10 days on a vacation. So that all happened within 10 months. So what it took to get there, once I straightened my head, my thinking, I changed my business, I would prospect half the time I worked. That was my rule. And I would normally work about 10 hours a day, 5, sometimes 6 days a week. So that should kind of give you an idea, because I figured prospecting, generating leads is the number one priority. There's nothing more important in this business. Yes, customer service and all that, but some of it I hired staff to do, and some of it I delegated. So my number one priority is to find people who needed my help. So my rule was, I was looking for sellers, I was looking for people who want to move within 6 months, and I was looking for people who were nice, motivated, and who wanted a good agent. Those were my criteria, and I looked for those every single day. So what I would do, I would start early in the morning. First, I would call new expireds. Then I would call old expireds. Then I would hop in a car, and I would go visit 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 expired listings, have my little package ready. I would drop off the package, talk to the seller if possible. If not, I would leave the package there, and then I would door knock. Because I didn't have a huge marketing budget to run big advertising and direct mail campaigns. I didn't have that. And I really didn't want to waste a lot of money on expensive, complicated campaigns that may or may not work. So that was my approach. And I would spend the morning out there. Now, I had the advantage. I was in Southern California, so the weather was nice, probably 300 days a year. So it was fairly easy to door knock and be out there. But don't let the weather be an excuse. Don't make that an excuse. So I would do that. I would have lunch, come back to the office, then I would do my follow-up. Then I would do some admin work. I would do stuff like learn something, listen to tapes, watch a video. Then I would study the market. And oh, I forgot to mention, when I would go out, I would also preview properties. I would combine all of that together. So I would check active listings, I would check pendings while I was talking to the expired listing. So I would combine all of that. And then in the afternoon, either listing presentation, follow-up, or more prospecting. And I would wrap up the day by about 7 o'clock. That was on average my day. Now, as you have the systems in place, as you build your business, this is going to take probably a couple of years of this hard work. You work on weekends. You have to work late sometimes. Sometimes meeting clients at 7, 8 o'clock was the only time available for both spouses because they both worked. So I had to stay flexible. Then as the time progressed, the money came in, more money came in. I was able to hire a full-time assistant. I had a transaction coordinator. I was able to take some weekends off. I had a buyer's agent, so it was easier. But to build that momentum, to wrap it up, that's what it took. If you're not spending at least 50% of your time generating leads, you're not working at your full potential. More importantly, you're wasting time. You're definitely doing stuff that is not producing dollars. Because your 3 number 1 targets is getting appointments, getting listings, following up, and prospecting. There's nothing more important. So that should be the majority of your day. Fantastic question, Juan. Thanks for that. All right. Anthony has a question about FSBOs. How would you approach a FSBO if you stop by instead of calling? And if you did call first, what would you do when you arrive and having a tour? Excellent question. So let's break it up. How would you approach a FSBO if you stop by instead of calling? So first, I would knock on the door, because here's the truth, guys. How many of you drive by a FSBO? Ooh, FSBO, I'm going to call. You write down the number and never call. Be honest. Come on, fuckers, be honest. I know you don't. I know you. Because I was the same way. Oh, I'm going to call later. I'm going to put in my follow-up. First, I need to introduce myself. I better mail them something first so they're nicer to me. And it never happens. I know you. I was the same way. So here's what you do instead. Instead of kidding yourself, do something that most agents would not do. You stop by the for sale by owner, knock on the door, step back a little, you smile, and they say, "Hi, my name is Borino with ABC Real Estate. I saw the sign, is the house still for sale?" You talk to the seller, shake hands, introduce yourself. "Would you mind giving me a 2-minute real quick tour? I'm keeping up with the inventory in my area. I have a lot of homeowners in this area. I'm not here to list your property. I would just like to see what you have. Would that be okay?" Most sellers, come on in. They will not have a problem with it. In fact, they let strangers in the house immediately every time somebody's interested because they don't know who they are. Now, you want to, and what I did there is a small little linguistic trick. I eliminated their biggest fear. Actually 2 at the same time. I eliminated their fear that I'm going to waste a lot of their time. I said couple minutes, 2-minute, 5-minute tour, real quick. And I'm not here to list a property. I'm just keeping up with the inventory. This way, if I happen to have a buyer, would it be okay if I send them your way? Super simple. Why would the seller say no to it? What they really resent are agents who spend a lot of time there, waste their time, right? And agents who try to convince them to list the property. So if I tell them right up front, I'm not doing any of that, then I go in. That's what I want. Baby steps. Baby steps. Nice and easy. So first piece of information is their name. Very important. Remember their name. So I'll give you a little secret. Never happened to you, like you meet somebody for the first time, you introduce yourself, and you go, "Fuck, what was their name? They just told me their name and I don't remember," right? It happens to you, right? Happens to everybody. So here's the trick. You listen for their name carefully, you pay attention, and then I repeat back to them. So let's say their name is, I don't know, Gustavo. So I'd say, "Gustavo? Gustavo, did I get it right? Gustavo. Very nice to meet you, Gustavo." And I repeat it 3 or 4 times. That will allow me to memorize it. So I get comfortable pronouncing it. Even if it's a regular name, it doesn't matter. I would say, "Jim, Jim, very nice to meet you, Jim." I repeat it a few times. So I get used to it, but there's also a psychological reason I do that. And that is, the sound of their name is the most pleasant sound they know. Everybody loves the sound of their name. It is very comforting. It is soothing from the childhood. So if I use their name once in a while in a conversation, I'm starting to build connection, which is the purpose of the first interaction. Okay, so that's the short intro. Confident, comfortable. Same thing what we talked about earlier. I expect them to invite me in. I expect them to be nice and pleasant. I expect them to ask me questions and ask for help. And maybe even list the property. Why not? Statistically, you already know there is 92% chance they're not going to sell. It's been tracked by NAR for God knows what, 20 years, 15 years? So I expect that. Now, it may not happen right away, and that's cool. I go in and I have a little chat. So, what did we call the name? See, I forgot the name. Shit. Jim. I would ask some question. How long have you been selling the house? Awesome. Where are you guys going to be moving to? Oh, that's fantastic. Have a conversation about what they're trying to do, how soon they're trying to sell, and how soon they want to be somewhere else. And then I would say, well, let me ask you this. If I happen to have a buyer, would it be okay if I send them your way, or would you prefer if I bring them by? Should I accompany them, or would you deal with them directly? What's better for you? Completely non-threatening offer, and I'm cool about it. I'm not saying I have a buyer, unless you're positive you do. I would just say, I might run into somebody, you know, we have listings in the area. I do a lot of marketing, you never know. So what do you want me to do? And just let them answer. And whatever they answer is fine. It's all good. There's no wrong answer, okay? But if you feel they're motivated, if you feel they have a real desire to sell, which in 5-10 minutes of conversation, you should be able to pick up fairly quickly. You branch out and you decide. Sometimes, it doesn't happen a lot, but occasionally you click with them and they say, we need help. This is not going well. What do you think we should do? We've been on the market for 2 months. We got few lousy buyers, bunch of agents. Nobody's really helping us. Set up a listing appointment. Here's how you do it. This is what's called a bridge. This is straight from Borino. If you don't have it, get it. It's a really good FSBO system. Highly recommend it. It's all complete. Dialogues, marketing, follow-up, psychology of a FSBO, everything is there in one package. Now, I would ask, well, Jim, question for you. What if there was a possibility that you could put more cash in your pocket, even after listing and paying a commission? If there was a chance, you might net even more money with an agent. I know it sounds kind of paradoxical, but would you at least explore it? If the seller's motivated and if you have enough trust with them, they will say, yes, I would be curious. How is that possible? And then you set up an appointment. Why don't we meet in my office for 20-30 minutes tomorrow and we can go over everything? I'm not there to convince you to list a property. That's not the point. But it's good to know the facts. It's good to know where you are and what's going on. And more importantly, how we could make that house down in Florida a reality for you. So let's get together. That's one option. The other most likely option that will happen about 80% of the time is you say, I appreciate your effort. Keep doing it. You never know. Maybe you get lucky and find somebody. If I can help you in any way, I'd be happy to. One thing I can do is I can send you a list of websites where you should advertise your property. Most of them are free. Some do it for a small fee, but it's a good place. That's where a lot of buyers go. By the way, if you have good professional pictures, would you email them to me so I can forward it to my potential buyers? And that's an important request to make, because do you think most for sale by owners will have a professional photos? No, right? What they will have is a shitty iPhone photos with stuff all over the place. That it looks horrible, right? That's what most FSBOs do. I mean, if they stick that cardboard sign in the front yard selling a $400,000 house, do you think they will invest $100, $200 in a professional photographer? Of course not. So this is the first ding. And you're going to send these little dings to let them know it takes a lot of work to get the property sold. It takes some money and it takes effort. It's not that easy, Mr. Seller. But you don't do it directly to alienate them. You do it indirectly because you're helpful. And you simply walk them through the process. Does it take nice photos to get the property sold? Of course. You're not lying or misleading them, right? So you offer. If they don't have professional photos, you know, I have a great photographer. Her name is Andy. She's a specifically real estate photographer. She's really good at what she does. She's part of my team, so she has lower rates than most professional photographers. But I would recommend give Andy a call, or if you want, I can have her call you and set up some time. She can come take a look at it, take some nice pictures for you. I highly recommend you have a good pictures. Will make a big difference, because majority of buyers, 90% of the buyers these days, they go online. And photos are the first things they see. And if the photos are not nice, they're going to get discouraged. They won't call. They won't come. So having good pictures is one of the first things you should do. Now you're helpful. Whether Andy or your photographer will actually go and take pictures doesn't matter. It's the attitude of being helpful. It's providing information that benefits the seller, which most sellers don't think, oh, I need pro photos. They think, our house is beautiful. I just need iPhone photos and they will work, right? So you start offering this help, and you do that throughout your follow-up. So you ask for their email, you ask for their phone number, you ask for any information you don't have so you can keep in touch. And you tell them right up front. You set that right up. I will send you a market update once in a while. It's good to know what's selling, other homes that you're competing with, just kind of what's going on in the neighborhood. None of my follow-up is intended to annoy you, to bother you. Of course, this is not a sales pitch, but to provide helpful information, because you never know. Maybe one day you decide it's time for plan B. Maybe one day you feel like, this selling on my own really doesn't work out, or it's not working out. let's talk to somebody. I'll be happy to sit down with you and chat. That's it. That's the whole thing. So that's how you do it. Okay? Now, deploy the 80-20 rule when you're talking to FSBOs and expireds and any high probability leads. That means the seller talks 80% of the time. They do most of the talking. 80-20. They do 80, you do 20. So how do you do that? Using 80-20 rule. 80% of what you say are questions. Just get good at asking questions. The FSBO Borino has about 50 questions to ask. You don't need to ask all of them, right? You're not Inspector Columbo. You are a real estate agent, but good, engaging questions so the interaction is pleasant for them and it turns into a conversation, not a sales pitch. ¿Está bien? Oh, my man. So, Anthony, I hope I answered your question, yes? All right. Good. Jenny says, I have fallen off prospecting routine. What is the first thing to do to get my mind back on track? Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you, Jenny. It's easy, especially after holidays. You know, now we're going to go to Christmas. Some people will take time off. We'll be gone for about 10, 12, 14 days. So how do you get back on track? Start easy. Start easy. It would be just like, imagine, like, I'll give you an example. I'm fat. My belly is big because I procrastinated, I was putting it off, focused on other things. So the routines I used to have, I was in yoga 3-4 times a week. When I lived in Southern California, I was in the gym almost every day, riding the bike on the Strand almost every day. I was in good shape. Then we moved to Virginia, comfortable lifestyle, a lot of work, me being lazy, losing focus. I gained weight. I gained about 20 pounds. And for a while, I didn't pay attention because the business was doing well. You guys are doing well, so it's your fault. So I neglected it. The routine went to the side. And I would go to the gym once in a while or now to the yoga once in a while, but not systematically. Until I realized that I don't want to wait until I have a problem. I had to get back on track. Now, my initial idea was I'm just going to go back to what I used to do. But that was impossible. Given the couple of years of gap of not being diligent about my exercise routines, it was impossible to keep up with it. I tried for about 2 weeks diligently with discipline, and it was a disaster. I was sore, it was painful, and I was ready to quit. So I hired a personal coach, and I found probably the best one available to help me. She's a good friend of ours. She's a professional coach, nutrition expert, highly educated, phenomenal trainer. She's been doing it for 20-some years. Sounds familiar? See the parallels? I wanted somebody who can do for me with my health and my body and my physique what I do for you with your business. That was my idea. So I hired her. She comes to my house. She sets up an entire plan for me. She walks me through the routines, and we start easy. And then we get a little harder, and a little harder, and a little harder. So I've been working for 2 weeks now. I'm down 5.5 pounds. Which is pretty good. She says we're going to go slow because the slower you go, the gradual you go, the better habits you develop in the process and the better chance you have to keeping it off, which is my goal. I'm changing my lifestyle. This is not just some regimen I'm going to keep up for 6 months until I hit my ideal wealth. This will be for the rest of my life because I don't want to have a problem. Thank God, knock on wood, I'm healthy right now. But I also work 12, 14-hour days and I push myself. So I don't want this machine to break down because of neglect. That's my goal. That's why I hired her now, not when I have a problem. So I encourage you to do the same. Start easy. Set a goal. Let's say I'm going to talk to one high probability lead a day for the next 7 days. Make that your goal. One good lead, that means either a new expired, an old expired, for sale by owner, any or door knocking through a neighborhood before your open house, doing an open house, any high probability lead. Just talk to one a day, new lead. Make that your goal. Don't be attached to the outcome. You can't really control what they want to do, how motivated they are, will they list with you. You don't have direct control over that, so don't beat yourself up. But what you can control is your activities, so control those. Start easy and then gradually increase and increase and increase until you're up at the rhythm and at the level that will provide the lifestyle you want in 2017. That's the trick. Now, before you do, role play daily. It's just like an athlete. Warm up, just like before I start my workout routine, and now it's getting pretty challenging. I actually did one yesterday, and I gotta say, Nancy did a good job. I feel my body. Not to the point where it's uncomfortable or painful, but it just tells me something happened yesterday. So do the same. Warm up, stretch a little. What I mean by that, be in good physical state, because your physiology impacts your psychology, how you feel. But also warm up. Get a partner. 20, 30 minutes a day, role play, back and forth, back and forth. That will give you a lot of confidence. That will give you a chance to be really comfortable and confident communicating to those leads. So get somebody on the phone or in person and just a little verbal ping pong, back and forth. How do you talk to expireds? How do you talk to FSBOs? How do you follow up with leads? How do you set up appointments? How do you handle 3 or 4 objections you seem to be getting often? Handle those. Be comfortable knowing how to react to them. Okay? Very good question. Helpful, Jenny? Yeah? Okay, get back on track. And another thing I'm going to give you is set big goals. Set really big goals. Make 2017 so amazing. Architect your lifestyle that's so compelling that if somebody's rude to you on the phone, simply doesn't matter. It's not relevant because you're building this fantastic lifestyle. You're providing for your family and for yourself something so amazing that if somebody hangs up on you, you don't give a shit. It's going to be so amazing. And you know you're going to get there. You're just going to go to the next one and the next one. You put it in perspective when the rejection suddenly becomes so little compared to all these beautiful big things you're going for, whether it's the cruise or investment property or a new Mercedes or a Porsche, right, Jessica? Or that lovely home you want, or that peace of mind, or just a sense of success where you finally got it. Put it in perspective. Okay? Good? Helpful? All right. Anthony says, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Getting FSBORino as soon as I can. Yeah, get it. It's a really good system. Everything is in there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's all put together for you. You watch these videos where I'll walk you through the whole thing. I'll explain to you the psychology, how to approach people from a non-threatening, non-arrogant, or not needy, low-status way, right in the middle, how to connect with them, and how to start converting them. And this is a good time to do it because, mark my words, come January, the market will be littered with people who will try to sell on their own before they list with an agent. So it's a good time. What if they say, just bring me a buyer and I'll pay you 3%? Are we talking about FSBO here? Absolutely. I'll be happy to. Let me go back to my office. I'll send the photos to every single potential buyer I have, see who is interested, and then we'll work something out. That's it. That's the whole thing. You don't need to handle it. And the reason I don't want you to handle it is because these things will be handled only during our listing presentation. Don't try to address this kind of stuff. Don't talk about commissions or price until you sit down with the seller on a listing appointment one. Don't blow it. You simply agree. You say, fantastic. If I have a buyer, I'll send them your way. I'll work something out. Absolutely. Here is why. What you're looking for is building enough connection and trust with the seller. If they're going to keep trying on their own, you can't convince them otherwise anyway. On contrary, the more you would try to convince them, the more you would try to push, the more resistance you're going to get. But there will come a breaking point where they will pretty soon, and this can be within days with some FSBOs, especially if they're motivated. This will be within weeks with most, and some who have more time will take a few months to realize, bad idea, we need an agent. That's where you're going to address it, not at the beginning. And if you have a buyer, send them their way. Why not? Show the property. Why not? Be helpful. Be cool. Don't make it about money. I know it's about the money. Of course it is. But that's not the goal. The goal is doing a good job, being helpful, because people will pick up on it and they will flock to you. Okay? So don't worry about any of that. You'll handle it on your listing presentation, because here's the trick. As you're building the connection with the FSBOs or any lead through your follow-up, you develop so much bond, connection, trust, and rapport with them that by the time you sit down with them at a listing appointment, they will realize that listing with a high-status professional advisor, a guide like you, not a schmuck salesperson, is the best way to go, is their best choice. You are their best choice. And by then, something like, we'll pay you 3% if you bring us a buyer is not an issue anymore. They know they need you, and they know they need a full-time, full service from a pro, high-status pro. What if they don't? What if they don't see the value no matter what? They're not your ideal client. Let them go. They're the Walmart mentality. Nothing wrong with that. It's just you're not a Walmart agent. You don't work for 3%. If you take a listing, obviously. Yeah? Helpful? All right. Jenny says, very helpful, cool. Are you doing any workshops this month? Jenny wants to know. There are no workshops this month. We are about halfway through boot camp. There will be a new boot camp starting February 1st. If you want to join me, we just opened the registration. Go to goborino.com. And there is a webinar this Friday. Might as well tell you about it. Once in a while, I invite somebody I want to talk to. This Friday, we're going to talk to Joan Pauly, who, in my opinion, is one of the biggest authorities when it comes to Facebook. This guy knows Facebook inside out. He's set up bajillion campaigns, understands how Facebook works, understands which ads will get you the most bang for your buck. He owns it because he walks the walk. You know what I mean? This is not theories. This is not just some guy who read a couple of books and put one little ad on Facebook. John knows his shit. He is knowledgeable. He is an expert. So he's going to come on Friday. I'm going to post a link. It's going to be a webinar for you guys. And I'm going to talk to John. He's going to walk us through some things you need to know, because in 2017, Facebook's going to explode. I was in Miami. You guys were, some of you were there, right? We had the chance to hang out. And there was a presentation behind closed doors that Facebook did about stuff that's coming. Be ready. Facebook, if you have the budget for it, and now you're going to have the knowledge for it, can be a great source of potential buyers and sellers. So that's what we're going to talk to John about on Friday. It's going to be Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, about an hour and a half webinar with lots of good stuff. Come, you can ask questions, we're going to chat. He's going to show you some screenshots, some examples. Again, he's going to open his account and show you how it's done, because he's doing it. And because Facebook is evolving and changing so much, the stuff that you learned 6 months ago, a lot of it is not applicable anymore, which is even my case. You know, we run $100, $200 a day Facebook campaigns, and a lot of that stuff is no longer as good because of Facebook algorithms are changing, and the conditions and the business and the systems are changing. So that's going to be this Friday, 1 p.m., Friday, December 2nd. All right. Tanya says, calling expired and I get an appointment, but during the call the seller states they're waiting until the spring. Should I go into the dialogue on the call or at the appointment? Definitely go there in person if you can, Tanya. Even if they are not ready. And with some sellers, some you may be able to convince. Some will see the opportunity of doing it now, because many times the we're going to wait is just a smokescreen, and it's a trust issue. It's not a motivation issue. But sometimes there's not much you can do about that. Sometimes they will wait. Sometimes the selling is not as urgent or as important. With those, you want to develop connection. So that's why going for a short little visit, just drop off the package, introduce yourself, say hello, chat with them for a little while, maybe take a tour of the house. Will pay a lot down the road. Will make your follow-up easier, because now they can connect face to the name, so that's more memorable. You have more connection. You saw the property, so your CMA will be more accurate. And you can set up an appointment for spring. Totally. Why not set up an appointment 2-3 months down the road? Just like your dentist, your accountant, your tax guy, your attorney, same thing, okay? Good for you calling expired. This is a good time. And just wait what's going to happen in 30 days. The end of December, last 2 days in December, and first week in January, you're going to be swamped with expireds. Good time to go after them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, answered that one. Let's see, do we have anything else? Juan has another question. I don't want to sign a contract. It's the same thing. If they tell you while you're interacting with the FSBO or a prospect, it's fine. You're not there to sign a contract. Now, if they tell you this during your listing presentation, you screwed up. That means something went sideways on you, and it's usually at the beginning, not at the end. Because if you do the entire presentation, you take the steps, you do the presentation plus system, and you don't get the contract at the end, it's not because of the ending. It's because somewhere in the process, usually at the beginning, you were either low status, or they don't believe you, there's not enough trust, or there's no motivation. And as a good agent, you should be able to identify it up front, not wasting your time with the whole process. All right, Juan? So don't worry about it. Yes, 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 I answered that. Very good. Brian says, always good stuff. Well, thank you, my good sir. Appreciate it. Tanya says, yes, I'm going on the appointment, but should I just wait to address their objection at the appointment, or should I address it on the call before the appointment? I would not address it at all, Tanya. I would not address it at all. Just ask them the same questions, where they're going to go. What you want to do is find out their core drive and emotion. Because once you know what is it they're really trying to do, everything else will fall into place. And it'll be easy to determine what's best for them. Not for you, because I know you want the listing, but what's best for them. Are they better off waiting? Are they better off selling now? What would benefit them, the client? And then you react accordingly. But don't get too stuck on it in your head. Don't try to address it too much. It's not that big of a deal. Either they're going to list and sell now or in spring. Either way, you got a great lead, so work them. Don't overthink this. Okay? Is that making sense? Jared has a very good question. Your response to a client wanting to take the property off the market for winter time. It's the same thing, Jerry. It's the same thing. Maybe it's better for them to wait. Maybe they don't really care whether it sells now or in the summer or in the spring. You know what I mean? Here's the thing, guys. There is no magic approach that you can use, either magic words, magic dialogue, or magic anything, that would suddenly make them go, fuck me, you're right. I should list now. You know what I mean? Don't expect, yes, you can tell them about the holidays and motivated buyers and homes looking nice and all that. But if selling is not that important to them right now, you cannot make them. You cannot change somebody's mind. I cannot change your mind and make you buy the FSBO Borino right now. You know what I mean? I can tell you about the benefits. Maybe you do it now, maybe you'll do it later, but there's nothing I can do or say to convince you otherwise. It's the same with your sellers. Now, what you can do is point out some benefits. And there are some benefits selling now. You don't have as much competition. The rates are still pretty low. Serious buyers out there. And if, let's say for Christmas, for a few days they want to take it off the market, you can make that happen. It's no big deal. But if overall the attitude is like, well, we can wait till spring, no big deal. It's not going to change our plans too much. There's nothing you can do. Okay? It goes back to what we talk about every single time. What is their core driving emotion? How bad is the pain and the pleasure? Because if the pain and the pleasure is only lukewarm, 70 degrees, nothing you can do. But if it's hot, if to spend Christmas with the family down in Boca really matters to them, you have the means to make it happen. Because what you want to find out is it a brush, we wait till spring, or is it a condition? That's your job. The intensity of the pain and pleasure drive is what matters. Because if they say, it doesn't really matter, if it's going to take us 6 months, it's going to take us 6 months, we're okay with that. If they're okay with that, there is no clever way of making them. Does that make sense? So just a patient follow-up and building trust. Now, it's possible they'll tell you, no, we'll wait, we're not in a hurry. But what they're really saying is, we're not going to wait, we're just waiting for somebody we can trust. Then you got to work on your trust, on your communication, on your connection with them. Because they're clearly not comfortable enough to tell you what they're really thinking, and more importantly, what they're really feeling, what is their real desire. So you got to distinguish these two. Does that make sense? Matt says, great stuff, thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Makowski. Always great. It was nice to see you in DC, by the way. I meant to tell you that. All right. Yes, Tanya says, makes sense. Thank you. Mr. Ken Callan says, few people I spoke with are doing repairs like painting, floor refurnishing, etc. When to get it ready for January. And that's perfect. That's perfect. What I would do is set up an appointment for January. And then follow up and be helpful and send them cool stuff and keep in touch, sometimes even visit. Offer them handyman, offer them a plumber, offer them resources, offer them advice. Don't spend money on that. Don't do that. You're going to invest $3,000, you're not going to get it back. That's a bad idea. Here's what we'll do instead. Be the helpful expert advisor. Be their friend in the business. You know how so many sellers will tell you, no, we already have an agent, we have a friend in the business. You become their friend in the business. You be the one. How do you do that? By being high status, number one. And number two, by providing cool, helpful information. By going on the property, says, yeah, I would definitely do the windows, definitely do the carpeting. That's a good investment, but that I would not worry about the molding there. Now you're their friend in the business, trying to save them money, offering good advice, not pushing them, list with me, list with me, list with me, like everybody else is. And if it's going to take till January, fantastic. You'll be back in January, list a sucker. Boom, paid, next. Yeah? Is that all making sense, my dear friends? Has this been helpful? Have you learned something? And more importantly, can you take practical action based on what we talked about? Yeah? Good. Looks like it was. Outstanding. All right, looks like our hour is up, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate the love. Appreciate it very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If there's anything else, we'll do this next Tuesday. Yeah, are you up for it? Awesome, thank you. Oh, wow, look at that. It's awesome how it flies through. I always like that. When you guys click the likes, you know, it just goes over the... Fantastic. Love it. All right, glad you enjoyed this. Appreciate you being here live. I will talk to you on Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. It's going to be a really good webinar with John. We're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff that will help you in your business. Set your 2017 right with the right systems in place, the right marketing in place, and you're going to crush it with my help. Okay? And if you can make it on Friday, we will be back next Tuesday. Whoa! That is awesome. My screen just exploded. It went crazy. Jessica, wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the nice comments. I see them all. Maka, wonderful to have you. Carrie, thank you. All right, you guys. Of course, I'll be back on the Rockstars. So if you have any questions here, I'm going to answer them there. Thank you so much. Danielle says, Borino, you're the man. Thanks, Danielle. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Hope the Thanksgiving was good. Hope you're back. Full swing. This is a good opportunity. A lot of agents are on mental holiday. Use it. Crush it. There are people who need your help right now. Let me close with this. Right now, this very moment, it is about 1 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon here on the East Coast. There are people in your town, in your city, who are sitting at the kitchen table and discussing selling the property. And they're uneasy about it. They're uncomfortable about it because it's a scary, big decision. And because real estate industry, unfortunately, we don't have the best reputation. And they're struggling, and they're debating, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How can we find somebody who can help us, who is out there to protect our best interest, who we can trust? Your job is twofold. It's a two-step process. One, you have to find them. Two, you have to connect with them and build that trust with them. Because once you do these two things, the rest will be very easy. Without them, what are you going to do? There's nothing to do. Yeah? All right, Rockstars. As always, thank you so much. With my gratitude, I appreciate every single one of you. You're out there in the trenches doing the good work every day, and I appreciate it. If there's anything I can do, if you need my help, you need some answers, you need encouragement, inspiration, I'm here. Let me know. Thank you. Coach Borino signing off. I'll see you all next Tuesday or on our webinar this Friday. Take care. Let's go get him. Bye, everybody.